So to sew the body, I start with the fronts. So I grab the two fronts, the two front pieces, and I line them up like this on this kind of weird part, and then I pin in place this part here, only this part. So pin here, and then I'm going to sew here with a straight stitch, and then I'm going to open the seam allowance. So I'm going to kind of press. I won't press it with the iron, but just with my fingers, finger press the seam allowances here open.
Lay the back piece on the table with right side up, and place the front pieces, now all sewn together, on the back piece, right sides together. So we are going to have the front on the back, right sides together. So we are going to sew the shoulders and the neck, but we are going to sew this in several steps. First, we are going to align the shoulder here. So align the shoulder edges on the left. The shoulder edges should be aligned on the left like this, and pin. Pin to hold this together. And we are not going to pin anything else for now. We are just going to sew and pin as we sew. So just pin this shoulder, and now with a pen or chalk, mark the spot where you will turn the corner at 1 centimeter in from the edge. So 3/8 of an inch in from the edge. It's where you will stop sewing, right here. Draw a line here. So you'll stop sewing right here at 1 centimeter to turn everything. And now sew across this area here from the armhole in towards the marked line.
Sewing this neckline, it's a bit tricky, it's a bit weird, and it's a bit tricky. So I'm going to start by sewing this area here that I pinned before. Then I'm going to stop, and with the needle down I'm going to pivot everything here, especially the front patterns, which is on top, and then I'm going to align this front pattern piece with the back neckline. So this is the back neckline, this is the center back, and this will align everything here. I won't pin it now because I will need to cut a notch here, and then just and then pin it and sew it. Then I'm going to sew all the way to here, and then I'm going to cut a notch here, just cut a little notch here again, and then pivot this with the needle down to align this part here, and then to sew it again.
And on to sew. So back stitch in the beginning, and sew with a straight stitch at 1 centimeter seam allowance, 3/8 of an inch. Just make sure that this edge is all flat, and sew until you reach that line that you drew before. Right here. When you reach it, keep the needle down, lift the presser foot, and cut a notch through the top fabric on the corner, really through the corner, without reaching the needle. This will allow you to rotate the top fabric and to continue aligning the edges. So rotate the top fabric until it lines up with the bottom raw edge. Align the center neck seam on top with the center back seam underneath, and pin. And now just place some pins along this edge of the fabric to keep everything in place. So just place a few pins right here. And now, before sewing, you are going to draw another line exactly as you did before. So this edge is aligned, and now I'm going to mark again the seam allowance line here to know exactly where I'm going to stop sewing. Just mark 1 centimeter. So this is where I'll be sewing. And now 1 centimeter in. And this is where I'm going to stop sewing. Right here on this corner. Place a pin exactly on that spot. And now to sew this area. So just keep sewing with a straight stitch. Open the seam allowances on the center back. Like this. And keep sewing until you reach that spot. When you reach that other spot, so stop sewing with the needle down, keep the needle down, lift the presser foot, cut a notch through the top fabric, just through the top fabric, not the bottom fabric, on the corner, and rotate the top fabric until it lines up with the bottom one. So this last edge, which is the other shoulder, needs to line up correctly, like this. Place 1 or 2 pins here, just to hold this, and sew this edge and backstitch in the end. The shoulders and neck are now sewn like this, so there are no holes here, nothing is peeking out, and when you turn it you have nice corners, just like this, just like this.
Now that the neckline is all sewn, and it's so pretty, just look at this corner here, really, really perfect. So it seems weird, it seems tricky, but really you just have to start sewing and keep sewing, and it turns out perfect and beautiful. So now the next step is to sew the sleeves.